Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive.
It's good to be back.
Today we're taking a look at this,
Yes.
Amanve Hakikat Alasunda. Kainatin Shifreleri ni Çözmek.
All right.
It's a mouthful, I know.
Yeah.
But for our listeners who maybe aren't familiar with Turkish,
Right.
it means between faith and truth, decoding the secrets of the universe.
Wow. That's, and it's,
Quite a title.
it is.
Yeah.
And it's quite a book.
Yeah.
It's got a lot going on.
It really
A
does.
really interesting blend of Islamic theology and philosophy.
And it's really accessible, too.
Yeah.
It uses all these, like, everyday examples and analogies,
Yeah.
to really explain these complex ideas.
Yeah, and it just jumps right in,
Yeah.
right away.
It does.
Giving you practical advice on how to deal with life's challenges.
Right, like calamities.
Yeah.
I mean, who hasn't been just totally overwhelmed by, something bad happening?
Right.
Yeah.
And the author uses this analogy of a broken hand
Okay.
to illustrate this.
So, like, imagine you've broken your hand.
Okay.
The author argues that complaining about it,
Oh.
that's just adding
More pain.
mental anguish on top of the physical pain.
Right. So it's like you're choosing to suffer even more
Exactly.
by focusing on the negative.
It's like you have a choice.
Okay.
You can magnify your suffering by dwelling on it,
Yeah.
or you can choose to focus elsewhere.
Right. Focus on the good things.
Right.
Or at least something else.
Yeah.
Right.
And he has this other example that I thought was really interesting
Okay.
about lying in bed at night
Okay.
and you see something in the corner of your eye,
Oh, yeah.
a shadow or a shape,
Uh-huh.
and the more you fixate on it,
Oh, yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
the scarier it gets.
Yeah. Your mind just starts to...
You start imagining all sorts of things, but
Yeah.
when you ignore it,
Right.
poof, it vanishes.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's saying that material calamities are similar.
Mm.
The more attention we give them, the larger they loom in our minds.
Right. So it's like they're not actually bigger.
Right.
It's our perception that makes them seem that way.
Yes. And so the key is to not let them take root in our hearts and become spiritual burdens.
So don't let them weigh you down.
Exactly.
Okay.
And this leads us to the next part,
Right.
which is the book's exploration of prophets,
Okay.
specifically the Prophet Muhammad,
Uh-huh.
in the context of natural laws and divine will.
Okay. Interesting.
So the book delves into this concept of adatullah,
Adatullah.
yeah, which refers to God's customary practices
Okay.
as seen in the laws of nature.
So like the natural order of things.
Yes,
The way the world works.
exactly.
Okay.
So it's suggesting that the Prophet Muhammad's life mainly followed these natural laws.
Okay.
So it's an interesting take on the relationship between divine intervention
Uh-huh.
and the natural order of things.
Okay. I see what you mean.
Yeah, so miracles certainly played a role,
Right.
in proving his prophethood. But the book emphasizes that his daily life
Yeah.
primarily demonstrated how to live
Okay.
in harmony with these natural laws,
So it's like
setting an example for all humans.
he was living proof
Right.
of how to live in accordance with God's laws.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not just about, spectacular displays of divine power,
Okay.
but about finding a way to live within
Right.
the divinely established order of the universe.
So live in harmony with it.
Yes.
I like that.
So I'm starting to see the wisdom in this approach.
Yeah, it's a very balanced perspective.
Yeah.
And the book uses another analogy to really drive home
Okay.
this idea of the impermanence of the material world.
Okay.
It compares earthly existence to like a house or a city or a garden
Okay.
that's constantly on the verge of decay.
Right. Like
Right.
those old buildings you see.
Yeah, like a beautiful old building
Yeah.
that's slowly crumbling.
Or a garden that's being overtaken by weeds.
Yeah, it's a reminder that everything in this world is temporary. Right. It doesn't last forever.
It makes you think,
Right.
if everything is ultimately fading away,
Yeah.
what should we be focusing on?
Good question.
Yeah.
What should we be prioritizing?
Exactly. And that's precisely the question that the book addresses next.
Okay, I'm ready for it.
Okay.
It suggests that clinging to worldly possessions and fleeting pleasures is only going to lead to disappointment and suffering.
So instead of chasing after those things,
Yeah.
the temporary highs, we should be seeking something more lasting.
Yeah, something deeper.
Something that transcends those limitations.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
The book points us towards seeking true happiness
Okay.
in our connection with the divine, in pursuing eternal values, and seeking fulfillment in the afterlife.
Okay, so it's not just about this life.
No, it's about the bigger picture,
Right.
the eternal journey.
Yeah.
And this leads us to another fascinating aspect of the book. The argument for monotheism, the idea that there's a single creator.
Okay.
And it uses the intricate design of creation as
What?
evidence.
Okay. I'm curious about this.
You'll like this then.
Okay.
The book uses a very specific example.
Okay.
The behavior of a mosquito.
A mosquito.
Yeah, I know it might seem kind of random.
Yeah.
But just think about it for a second.
Okay.
All the complex instincts that a mosquito has,
Uh
finding a target,
huh.
drawing blood,
Right.
even knowing how to avoid getting swatted.
I've never really thought about it that way.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, for such a tiny creature.
Right.
It's like they have this built-in blueprint for survival.
Exactly. And what makes this even more interesting
Okay.
is that the author himself says
Uh-huh.
that he couldn't replicate these instincts
Wow.
without years of study and research.
So he's saying that even something as simple as a mosquito
Yeah.
points towards a designer,
Towards an intelligent designer.
the divine designer.
Yes.
I love how this book takes these everyday examples and
Okay.
reveals this whole new layer of meaning.
Yeah. It challenges you to look at the world differently.
Yeah. And it's not just mosquitoes, right?
No. This line of thinking applies to all of creation.
Right, like the complexity and order that we see.
Yeah, all the intricate
You
details.
can't just be random chance.
Exactly. There has
Yeah.
to be some intelligence behind it.
Okay, so we've talked about facing calamities,
Yeah.
the role of prophets,
Right.
and the evidence for a creator.
Uh-huh.
But the book doesn't stop there, does it?
No, it goes even deeper.
Okay.
It talks about the power of sincere faith,
Okay.
alicitem,
Okay.
and the importance of seeking divine knowledge.
I'm really interested to hear more about this.
Okay, so the book really emphasizes this idea
Yeah.
that perfect sincerity and faith, not just going through the motions,
Right.
leads to profound inner peace.
It's about really believing it.
Yes, and living it.
Right.
It's about cultivating a deep trust and reliance on God.
Okay, so it's more than just blind faith
Yeah, it's about seeking a deeper connection.
with the creator.
Yes.
Okay.
And the book suggests that through sincere contemplation of creation,
Okay.
you can reach an understanding that frees you from relying on others for validation.
Interesting. So you're finding validation from within.
Yes, from your connection with the divine.
Okay.
It's about seeking help and validation
Yeah.
from that ultimate source,
Right.
not from other people
Okay.
or from external things.
That's a powerful image.
Yeah, it's about finding that inner strength.
But the book isn't just about this individual spiritual growth, is it?
No, it also offers guidance on navigating the complexities of family life
Right.
and relationships.
So how does it address that?
It's very practical.
Okay.
It offers specific advice, especially for women,
Okay.
emphasizing the importance of seeking fulfillment
Wow.
within the bounds of what is permissible
Okay.
in Islamic teachings.
So finding happiness and purpose
Yeah.
within that framework
Yes,
of
exactly.
faith and family.
Right. And it warns against seeking happiness outside of these boundaries,
Okay.
highlighting that this path
Mhm.
ultimately leads to greater pain and suffering.
So it's setting some clear boundaries.
Yeah. It's about staying on the right path.
Right.
And it even cautions against seeking divorce through courts,
Wow. Okay.
framing it as a matter of Islamic dignity
Uh-huh.
and national honor.
Okay, so it's a pretty strong statement.
Yeah, it really emphasizes the importance
Right.
of upholding these values,
Yeah.
both personally and societally.
Right.
But it's not just about restrictions.
Right.
It's also about finding true happiness
Wow.
in faith and righteous actions,
That's it.
including finding joy
Yeah.
in those simple,
Well-
wholesome family interactions.
Right, those everyday moments.
Yeah, it's about appreciating the little things.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, but there's one part that I'm particularly intrigued by.
Okay, what's that?
The fact that the book doesn't shy away from the topic of doubt.
Ah, yes, the internal struggle
Yeah.
between faith and skepticism.
Right, because I think that's something we can all relate to
Oh, absolutely.
at some point in our lives.
Yeah, everyone has doubts.
Right. So how does the book approach such a sensitive topic?
Well, it does it in a very interesting way, actually.
Okay.
It presents this struggle as like an internal dialogue between the author and his nafs.
His naps.
Yeah. In Islamic thought, that represents our ego,
Okay.
our lower self,
Right.
that voice of doubt and temptation that we all have.
So it's like giving those doubts a voice.
Exactly, like personifying them
Why?
and giving them a platform to challenge the author's faith.
So how does that play out?
Well, the NAFS demands proof
Of
of
a-
God's existence, the reality of the afterlife.
All the big questions.
Yeah, all those classic questions that skeptics raise. It's like this philosophical debate playing out in the author's mind.
That's a really interesting way to frame it.
Yeah, and the author doesn't shy away from it.
Okay.
He actually engages with those doubts.
So he's not just suppressing them.
No, he confronts them head on
Okay.
with reason and faith.
So it's like he's showing us
Yeah.
that it's okay to question,
Right.
to grapple with those doubts.
Exactly. It's part of the process
And it can actually lead to a deeper understanding.
to a stronger faith.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that this internal struggle, it's not just for the author's benefit.
Right.
It's for the reader, too.
Okay.
It's like he's saying, hey,
Yeah.
I've been there.
I've wrestled with these doubts.
Let's walk this path together.
It's a powerful way to connect with the reader.
Yeah, it makes it very relatable.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that NAFS, that
Yeah.
embodiment of doubt,
Right.
surrenders to belief.
Okay. So it's a journey
It is
from skepticism to faith.
Exactly. And it reminds us
Yeah.
that it's okay to question
To seek answers.
and to arrive at a deeper understanding.
You know, that process.
It's not about blind acceptance.
Right.
It's about informed conviction.
And that ties back to what we talked about earlier
Yeah.
about observing the natural world
Right.
as a way to connect with the divine.
The book presents the natural world as this kind of code
Okay.
or a series of secrets
Hmm.
waiting to be deciphered.
It's like those hidden messages
Yeah,
in a work of art
exactly.
that are waiting for someone to discover them.
Right. And it's everywhere we look.
Yeah.
From the patterns of a seashell
Right.
to the symmetry of a snowflake.
It's like there's this intelligence behind the beauty
This design.
and the complexity.
Yeah, the book encourages us
Uh-huh.
to approach nature with that sense of wonder,
Right.
curiosity,
Yeah.
to look for those signs
That's codes.
that point towards the creator.
It's not just about appreciating the beauty.
No, it's about actively engaging with it,
Right.
trying to understand its deeper meaning.
So every sunrise, every rustling leaf
Yeah, every buzzing bee.
becomes a potential revelation.
It's like a glimpse into the divine blueprint.
Wow.
It's about recognizing the interconnectedness of all things.
And that interconnectedness extends beyond the natural world
Yes,
to humanity itself.
absolutely. The book talks about this idea of the collective good.
Okay.
It stresses that we're all connected.
Uh-huh.
Our actions have consequences,
Yes.
not just for ourselves.
But for others.
Exactly. It's like throwing a pebble into a pond,
And the ripples spread outward.
touching everything in their path.
Yeah.
So when we prioritize our own selfish desires,
Uh-huh.
it disrupts the harmony,
The balance.
society.
It's a call to think beyond ourselves.
Yes, to embrace that shared responsibility.
To the well-being of others.
It's a powerful message
Especially in today's world.
where individualism is often emphasized.
Yeah. It's a reminder that we're all part of something bigger.
They are all connected.
And speaking of fulfillment,
Yeah.
the book also explores the nature of happiness.
Yes. It offers some really profound insights
Right.
about what true happiness is.
Because so many people chase after
Right?
fleeting pleasures,
Material possessions.
thinking that's where happiness lies.
But that kind of happiness, it's
Yeah.
superficial.
Fleeting.
It's like building a house on sand.
It's gonna crumble.
Eventually,
Yeah.
the book argues that true happiness
Okay.
is rooted in something much deeper,
Okay.
something that transcends the material world.
So connecting with our spiritual core.
Yes. And finding fulfillment in our relationship with the divine.
It's about cultivating that inner peace.
Exactly, that contentment.
That gratitude.
That doesn't depend on external circumstances.
Right. It radiates from within.
It does, and it's not just about waiting for happiness to arrive.
Okay.
It's about aligning our actions with our values and purpose.
Living a life of meaning.
Yes, using our talents and abilities to make a difference.
It's like finding that missing piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, where everything fits together.
Our passions, our values, our actions.
It creates this beautiful picture.
Yeah.
And it's not just personally rewarding.
Okay.
It also benefits society.
So it's a win-win.
It is, we find fulfillment
Yeah.
and we contribute to a better world.
Okay, before we wrap up,
Yeah.
is there anything else?
One more thing
Okay.
that I found really captivating.
You okay?
The book's exploration of intuition and inspiration.
Intuition and inspiration.
It suggests that there is this realm of knowledge
Okay.
that goes beyond our rational minds, a realm that we can access through intuition, inspiration, divine guidance.
It's like that gut feeling.
Exactly, that sense of knowing
Yeah.
that you can't explain logically.
I've definitely had those moments.
And the book argues
Yeah.
that these intuitive insights
Yeah.
can be more profound.
Then our logical deductions,
So we should pay attention to them.
to those inner whispers,
Trust our intuition
and be open to that guidance.
from a higher source.
So acknowledging that there's more to knowledge
Yeah.
than just our rational minds
There's a deeper level of knowing
that can guide us.
on our journey.
And this knowledge can reveal itself
Yes.
in unexpected ways.
Through dreams, visions.
Moments of deep contemplation.
It's like tuning into a different frequency.
A channel of wisdom,
That's always there.
but often drowned out by the noise of our lives.
So we need to quiet the mind
And open ourselves.
to receive those whispers of guidance.
Wow, what a thought-provoking note to end on.
This book is full of them.
This deep dive has been incredibly insightful.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for sharing your expertise with us
My pleasure.
and for helping us unpack all of this wisdom.
Yeah, this book is a real gem.
And to our listeners,
Yes.
we highly encourage you to check it out for yourselves.
You won't regret it.
It's a treasure trove of insights
It can guide you on your own journey
to a deeper understanding of yourselves, your faith.
and your place in the universe.
Until next time, keep diving deep